You know, when you think of Martin Luther King Jr.'s speeches, I Have a Dream is probably the first one that comes to mind, right? But today, we're going to unpack one that's arguably just as powerful, but one you might not know as well. It's his 1964 Nobel Peace Prize acceptance speech, and it is a masterclass in navigating a paradox, delivered on the world stage while the fight was still raging back home.
So King gets up there, and right out of the gate, he throws this incredible curveball. He doesn't start with a simple, "thank you so much." No, he immediately highlights this massive tension. He's accepting a prize for peace, while his people are in the thick of a creative battle. This isn't a victory lap for him. He's reporting live from the front lines.
And this sets up the whole first part of the speech, which is all about this profound contradiction, the paradox of peace. How can you accept a peace prize when for your people there is absolutely no peace to be found?
He asks the question directly. He's basically putting the Nobel Committee and the entire world on the spot. He's not just accepting an award, he's challenging the very reason he's getting it. He makes everyone in that room and everyone listening wrestle with the same question he is. Why are you honoring a movement for peace that is defined by constant, brutal conflict?
And to make this paradox real, he doesn't use abstract language. Oh no, he paints a picture that you can't look away from. He reminds the world of Birmingham, where children, kids, marching for brotherhood were met with fire hoses, snarling dogs, even death.
And the picture he's painting just gets darker. He brings up the raw, very recent memory of Philadelphia, Mississippi, where civil rights workers were murdered just for trying to secure the basic human right to vote. You have to remember, this wasn't some distant history lesson. This was breaking news as he was speaking. And think about this. The violence wasn't just against people. It was against the very idea of sanctuary. He points out that dozens of churches, places that are supposed to be safe, supposed to be peaceful, were bombed or burned down for the crime of refusing to accept segregation. And King is so brilliant here because he makes it clear that the violence isn't just physical, with bombs and dogs. There's an economic war being waged, too. This grinding poverty he talks about is another kind of weapon, another set of chains that makes the very idea of peace feel completely hollow. So, you have to be asking, right? After painting this unbelievably bleak, peaceless reality, how on earth does he justify accepting this prize? Well, his answer to that paradox becomes the very heart of his speech, the power of nonviolence. And this is his genius move. He concludes that the Nobel Prize isn't for a peace that has been won. No, it's for the method being used in the struggle. He redefines nonviolence for the world. It's not weakness. It's not just sitting there and taking it. It's an active, powerful, moral force that can fundamentally change society.
And then he just zooms out. He elevates the whole argument. He's saying nonviolence isn't just a strategy for the American civil rights movement, it's the only real path forward for all of humanity. He basically says civilization and violence are opposites. They just can't coexist. We have to find a better way. And he says, you want proof this works? Look at our journey. He draws a straight line from the dusty roads of the Montgomery bus boycott all the way to this grand hall in Oslo, Norway. That journey itself, he argues, is all the evidence you need that this powerful moral force is the real deal. Okay, so once he's laid that groundwork, the speech just takes off. It soars into its most famous, most transcendent section, a powerful declaration of what he calls his audacious faith.
After hearing everything he just described, it would be so easy to just give up, right? To despair. But King starts this incredible riff, this series of powerful refusals. He kicks it off by rejecting the idea that all the pain and confusion of history has to end in hopelessness. It's a defiant stand against cynicism.
And his refusal just gets bigger and bigger, taking on these giant, seemingly permanent evils of racism and war. He's saying, no, I refuse to believe we're trapped in this starless midnight forever. He insists that a bright daybreak isn't just a nice dream, it's a reality we can reach.
And here's the pivot. After telling the world everything he refuses to accept, he now declares what he believes. And at its core, it's this: that truth and love, even when they seem weak and unarmed, are ultimately more powerful than any weapon, any army, any lie. And what's so powerful here is that this isn't some pie-in-the-sky ideal. His audacious faith is grounded in the real, tangible needs of every single human being. It's about food for our bodies, knowledge for our minds, and freedom for our spirits. For King, real peace has to include all three.
And then he brings this incredible crescendo of faith to a powerful, simple conclusion with the anthem of the movement itself. by saying, "I still believe." Wow. He's acknowledging all the horror he just described, all the reasons to doubt, but he reaffirms his hope in spite of it all. It's a declaration of pure resilience. All right, so in the final part of the speech, King kind of shifts gears. He's resolved the paradox, he's declared his faith, and now he redefines his own role in accepting this incredible honor. And this is just a beautiful moment of humility. He makes it crystal clear that he's not accepting this award for himself. He says he's just a caretaker, a trustee, holding it on behalf of the countless other people who are the true recipients. He explains this with a simple but brilliant metaphor. He says, sure, you have the pilots, the visible leaders like himself, but he insists the real credit belongs to the ground crew. Who are they? They're the thousands of anonymous people whose names will never make headlines, but without whom the movement could never, ever have taken flight. So in the end, he dedicates the prize to these humble children of God, and he's making a profound statement about how history works. He's saying future generations will look back and see that our world was made better not by the famous and the powerful, but by ordinary people who are willing to suffer for what is right. And he wraps it all up by accepting the award on behalf of everyone who understands what true value is. Everyone who knows that genuine peace and brotherhood are the only treasures that really matter, far more precious than diamonds, silver, or even the gold of the Nobel medal itself. In the end, his speech doesn't just accept a prize, it asks every single one of us to decide what we truly value most.